Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Bree. Today's video is going to be tier ranking all the books I read in quarter three. If you don't know, this is a new thing I'm trying out where I tier rank all the books I've read in each quarter so that you can get a better look at how I actually feel about the books, since I don't always rate my books out of 5 stars. The number system doesn't always give me enough nuance to rate the books and talk about them and how I feel about them, so I don't always rate out of 5 stars. And this is a way to kind of see how I actually feel about books after some time, because I also tend to be really excited about books right when I read them and maybe feel that I've cooled off a little later and don't like them as much as I thought I did. And there's also times when books that I thought were good but I didn't love them. Over time I realized how much I actually did love them. So this is a way for you to kind of see that. So let's jump over to my computer where I go through all the books. I'll show you all the tiers I have and we can just rate the books I read in quarter three, and yeah, let's get into the video. Okay, so here is where I left it. I have 6 tiers, and these are all the books that I read in the first half of the year that I have ranked. I'll go through the different rankings at this time, and then I think I will try to maybe rearrange anything if I see fit. So the very first row we have is Chef's Kiss. It means it's perfect. I didn't want to change anything about it. It's favorite of the year. And then the next tier is Love That for me. So books I really enjoyed, but maybe weren't perfect books and probably won't make it to my favorites of the year. And then we have Enjoyed the Ride, but there were flaws. So books that I had a good time with, but aren't my favorite, and I can see where some issues might lie with them for me. And just there was something that kept me from really loving it. And then we have which is like books I just like didn't feel that great about. And then we have Simply Not for Me, which is a category for books that I can see the audience, but it's just not for me, or I learned something about my reading taste from these and I didn't like them, and so it's not necessarily the book's fault, it's that it just doesn't mesh with me as a reader. And then Absolutely Not is for books I just don't think I would ever recommend, and I just really didn't like them. Also, apologies for this angle and if I'm looking down a lot because my computer's down here. So I read 31 books in quarter three, which is July, August, September. And so I'm going to go through and rank all of those and just give you my thoughts. You can also watch my wrap-ups for any extended thoughts. This is just going to be quick versions. So first I have A Botanist Guide to Flowers and Fatalities. That one was a second to, I don't know what they're called, but it's this one here. It's the second one, and I feel like I'll put it here, top of No, I think I'll put it in Enjoy the Ride, but there were flaws. I just feel like I don't have really any thoughts about this book anymore. I enjoyed it, but I don't really remember it, and so it's just not that memorable for me. So I think I'll put it there. Soless, I think again, Enjoy the Ride, but there were flaws. I think I'll put it like middle, because I did have a good time with it. It was a fun like urban fantasy mystery with also romance involved, and it was funny, but it was written in 2009, and there's just some things that I don't think aged the best. Then we have The Broken Girls, which I love that. I would say I'm going to put it in high. Love that for me. It was 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, but I don't think it's going to be a favorite of the year. But I did really have a good time with it. So it's going to go in Love That for me. And then we have The Chocolate Book of Serpents. I'm going to go with this one first, which is the first one, A Natural History of Dragons. And I would say I'm putting that like here, because I really liked it, but I do think that the series has some flaws to it, and I really wanted it to be a new favorite like Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, because it has the same vibes of like studying something and being really invested in it, and it just isn't hitting the same way. And then I would put the second one probably like lower down because I enjoyed it less than that one. I'll put it like after Soulless. So like right here. Oh gosh. Then we have The Beautiful Ones. So much favorite. I think I'm going to put it like up here actually. I also think I want to move The Midnight Bargain above The Diviners because I like love both of those. So The Beautiful Ones is probably a new favorite of the year and one of my favorite books ever. It's just so angsty and drama filled, but like, I don't know, it was written in such a way that it didn't feel rushed or over the top. Like, it was the perfect amount of drama for the story. I really, really loved it. I really love Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing. Okay, so then we have The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep. This one is one I'm going to put in Simply Not For Me because I just really didn't enjoy this book, but I think it mainly comes down to realizing that I don't love stories that are characters coming out of books. I like retellings where characters are real characters, but they take their own spin on it, versus this is like actual characters from the book coming alive, and they have all the same tropes and personalities as those characters, and I don't think I enjoy that quite as much. So it just wasn't for me. I think it has its audience. If you really like books about books or characters coming out of books, I think that you might like it, but for me it was just not the best, and it was a little slow. Then we have The House Witch, which I'm also going to put in Simply Not For Me. I'm debating between that and because I really didn't like it, but I can also see where its audience is from. It's supposed to be a humorous type book. It's like a cozy fantasy with romance, and I think the humor in it just didn't work for me, and so it just wasn't a book that I could really connect with, and it was really slow. It's like a 400-page book that I think could have been 200 pages. So I'm debating between and Simply Not For Me. I think I'm gonna put it in because I don't know. I didn't love the execution, and I don't know if it's just not a book that's for me. I think there were certain things that just didn't do the best. Then we have Thornhenge, and I'm gonna put that in high. Loved that for me. I think I'm gonna put it actually like here because I love all of these more. So I think Bug Boys needs to be next to it because I love Bug Boys. It's a really good novella by T. Kingfisher. It's got the fantasy that T. Kingfisher's known for, and it's got this fairy tale feel, and it's kind of a spin on traditional fairy tales, and I really liked it, but it is only 100 or so pages, so I don't know for everyone if it would be worth picking up, not at your library, especially if you haven't tried T. Kingfisher before. I think that this one's going to appeal to people who are really big T. Kingfisher fans, which I am, so I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, but I don't think it's one that's going to be a favorite of the year. Then we have Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. I think I'm going to put that in the top of Love That For Me, because again, I don't think it's a new favorite of the year, but I've really, really had a good time with this mystery. It's a funny one. It reminds me of Finlay Donovan and Thursday Murder Club with the humor and everything, and just the way it's very meta with its writing and the way the story is told is just so fun. So I had a really good time. I think that it's not going to appeal to every mystery reader, but I loved it for me. So we're going to put it there. Yeah, I would recommend this one if you're looking for a new fun mystery. Then we have The Golden Key, and I feel bad because this is a self-published book, I think, and I'm just going to put it in Absolutely Not. There is nothing like that I felt was very problematic about the book to put it in Absolutely Not, but it just didn't make sense. The writing, I couldn't understand anything that was being said. Half the time I would read pages multiple times and not know what it was still saying, and then the ending was so ambiguous that because of everything else being so vague, I couldn't even put it together, so I felt like I didn't even understand the story, and it's one that I just can't recommend at all. So I think I'm going to put it there, which is unfortunate, but it's nice that we only have 2 for the year, you know? So then let's do The Serious Society for Lady Scoundrels. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're also going to put that in Love That For Me. I think we're going to put it in here. I had a really fun time. I think I'm going to put this here. I had a really fun time with this one. It was so funny. I laughed out loud with it. I just couldn't put it down. It's such a fun fantasy romance. I don't think a lot of fantasy romance are going to be my top books of the year, even though I have technically 3, so maybe I should take that back. But like funny ones, I don't think are going to be, but I do love reading them. I found that just this is a nice escape, like cozy type story, and I couldn't stop laughing. It's such a fun, weird premise, and I don't think everyone's gonna like it because you really have to suspend disbelief. You gotta just go where the story takes you, and I love that about it. So there's that. We have The Appeal. I'm gonna put it in top of Enjoyed the Ride But There Were Flaws because I really did like this, and I think I could really love Janice Hallett in the future, but it just wasn't perfect for me, and I think that the mystery itself was just not as good as it could be, in my opinion. Like the certain twists it takes, it just, I don't know, it didn't do anything super shocking, but I really love the format it's told in and the way we get to see information come to light. It just was really good that way, structurally really good. Just the plot was a little lackluster, so I feel like if I read any more Janice Hallett, they would be higher up, but for now this one's going to be here. Then we have The League of Gentlewomen Witches. I'm going to put that one here. That's the second one to this Wisteria Society, the Dangerous Damsel series. And this one I enjoyed as well, but not as much as the Wisteria Society. I just didn't like the couple quite as much, but I think it was still fun. It's kind of like The Half a Soul, where like the first one I fell in love with, and then the rest of the series I read because I still love the world and I love seeing all the people interact, but it's just not quite as good. So that's where this one is going here. But if you like witches, I think this one could be fun. This one's pirates, this one's witches. And so, you know, everyone's going to have their thing that they prefer. So then we have The Undertakers, and I'm going to put it right next to Conductors. I really enjoyed this. I think it had all the same things I loved about the first one, which is the character work, the friendships, and found family, all of that. And I really like the magic system. I just think the mystery was slightly too long. But other than that, I loved it. Like, they're just not exactly 5 stars for me because the mysteries tend to be a little bit longer than I would like. But they're still really high. Like, I would say 4.5 stars for me. And I love it. I love the series. I think it's such an underrated series. And Nicole Glover recently announced that the next either 1 or 2 are coming out in 2024. So I'm very excited. Then we have a reread, which is A Darker Shade of Magic. I'm going to put this in Love That for me. I'm going to put it, I think, here because I really enjoyed it. But I wouldn't say it's above these. I had a fun time. I love the reread of it. I feel like I don't reread books often, but my husband rereads them all the time, and his favorite thing is getting to see all the foreshadowing and the breadcrumbs you didn't pick up on before. And so this was one of the first times I was able to see that in a series, because I don't think I've reread a series like really very much. So I enjoyed seeing that. I think I'm going to like the rest of the series more because that's when all the character development really happens. So this was just a good starter into the series. But with that said, I do think it's a good one, and I think it's a really good one for people who are looking for an easy adult fantasy to get into because they don't know where to start. I would try this one because it's really easy to follow, and I think it has a good plot. Then we have A Far Wilder Magic. I think I'm going to put it in the bottom of Enjoy the Ride. There Were Flaws. No, I think I'm going to put it in because I didn't dislike it, but now I just kind of like feel meh about it. It's one of those where it's a fantasy romance, and I thought the romance was fine. There wasn't anything wrong with it. I think its commentary on like religious prejudice and stuff was really interesting, and I think it dove into that a lot, and I thought that was cool to read about. But I think the romance itself was fine, and the plot really took a back seat, I think, to the romance and the talk of religious prejudice. So for me, it was okay. I wanted a little more from the plot, and it's one that I think I would probably forget that I even read it in like a year from now. Oh my gosh. Then we have Let's Way. Chef's Kiss, perfect. Let's see, where do I want to put this? I think I want to put it here because I loved this book so much. It's got everything I love. It's got a animal companion, a ghost animal companion. It's got urban fantasy, mystery, just good friendships and family. And it's got some humor. So it just like was packed with all the things that I love. And it's a YA book, but I think it reads a little younger YA, but I really loved it. I don't think there's anything I would change about this book at all. Then we have Artificial Condition, and this one was Chef's Kiss as well. I think I'm going to put it here. I really loved this installment of the Murderbot series. This is the second one. The first one I really liked. I think you can see I put it here and Love That for me. But this one I think really built off what Martha Wells was starting with the Murderbot series and just really dove in even more. And there's a friendship in here between Murderbot and another AI. And I just think that was so well done, and I loved it. Again, anything with a little bit of humor that connects with me, I just tend to like in books, and seeing friendships grow is something I really enjoy. So I think it's perfect. Chef's Kiss. Then we have House with Good Bones, and I'm going to put that also in Loved That for me, but I'm going to put it near the bottom because I did really like this Tea Kingfisher. It's Tea Kingfisher, so I feel like I'm gonna enjoy it. But it is also not my favorite horror or my favorite horror from Tea Kingfisher. It's a cozier horror, so I don't think it's gonna appeal to a lot of people, but I liked it and I liked the pacing and everything. It just didn't like pack the same punch as some of her other books for me. So I think that's why I'm gonna put it here. Oh, then we have The Vampire's Fell Norte. We're gonna put it, ooh, see, now I'm really questioning how I want everything. I think I'm gonna put it here. Yeah, it's not above half a soul, but it's definitely, I think, here in terms of how much I love this book. Again, I don't think this is going to be a horror book that's for everyone because it does focus a lot on the romance over the horror. There are scary scenes, but I think it's not going to be as like scary. It's more about like the horrors of war and stuff and invasion. And I really loved it. I really loved the Hacienda when it came out. It was one of my top books of last year. And Isabella Cañas does it again. I loved it. Then we're going to go Vespertine. And this is also going to be I think I'll put it like here, maybe here. I really loved A Sorcery of Thorns. It's one of my favorite like YA fantasy books. And so I had Vespertine for a while, and I just think it's not my cup of tea. It was kind of confusing, and I did listen to it on audio, so I don't know if that made a difference for me, but I didn't really understand the plot as it went along. But there were parts that I liked. I liked the like spirit in her head trope and stuff like that. I just think it didn't have the same found family and stuff like that that I got from A Sorcery of Thorns. So I still want to try the other one, Enchantment of Ravens, because I think people have said they really like those two. Then they didn't like Vespertine, and then the people who like Vespertine usually don't like The Sorcery of Thorns and Enchantment of Ravens quite as much. So I think I'm going to be in the camp of liking Enchantment of Ravens. Then we have Silver Nitrate, and this one is also for me, which is sad. Let's put it here. I really liked Sylvia Marin Garcia's other books, but not this one. This one just is noir, and I read Bubba Was a Night years ago, and I didn't like it either, and I just think noir is just not my thing, which is fine. It's just gonna be, maybe I should put it in Simply Not For Me. Yeah, I'm gonna do that, because I don't think it was my thing, but I can definitely see why other people enjoy it, and why it's gonna work for other people. It's just noir really is not my thing, and this was like slower horror, and I like slow horror in a gothic way, but I don't like slow horror in a noir way. So then we have Chain of Thorns, and this was for me. I didn't really care for the ending of this. I think it just kind of dragged on. We were dealing with a lot of people and tying up their storylines, but the plot itself was really slow. So yeah, it was okay. And then we have Flight Risk, which is the second to Grave Reservations, and I would say it's probably at the same as Grave Reservations. It's a cozy mystery series. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a fun time, but I don't think it's ever going to be something that I like truly love. But I did have a good time with it, and I think it's a good one to read on in the series. And I like that there's only 2 out, so I can kind of pick them up and they'll feel more fresh because it's been so long. Okay, so then we have A Study in Drowning, and I'm going to put it in this area. I'm going to put it up here because I do think that there was a lot of things this book did well, and I think a lot of people are going to really like it, especially if you like dark academia. For me, I think there were so many things that it handled with a lot of care, and I really appreciated that about it, but the plot itself was just a little slow in certain parts, but I did really like the ending. So that's why I'm going to put it in Enjoyed the Ride, but there were flaws. Then we have Galant, and I would say I'm going to also put this in It was okay. I feel like I just didn't really connect to any of the characters or anything that was really going on in here. I think I'm going to move it down. And the plot, like, when everything was revealed, I just kind of felt okay about. I don't know. I thought it could be something I really liked because it does have that gothic vibe and the old creepy house and stuff. But, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. So, it's going to go in there. It's one that I don't know if I would say is just not for me, and it would work for a lot of other people because I have heard a lot of like negative reviews about this one. So I just think it wasn't V. Schwab's best character work. Then we have Where the Drowned Girls Go, and I loved that for me. I'm gonna put it here. This one was good. It's not my favorite in the Shauna Maguire series, the Every Heart a Doorway. This one, that you get to see another school and another way of like handling kids who have gone through these portals and like how they are helped or not helped. And I really did enjoy that about it, but I just think I like being in the fantasy worlds more than the school. So for me, it just wasn't my favorite. I know for a lot of people this one is their favorite. And I have the next one to read, in the Lost in the Moment and Found. But I know that one's very heavy, so I've been hesitant to pick it up. But it was so nice to be back in this world. So that's where I'm going to put that one. Then we have Dreadful Company. This one we'll put here. It was okay. I don't know where I put this. This one is the first one, Strange Practice. I would put it down at the bottom too because it was a good sequel, but it's nothing to write home about. I think the fact that it was like a kidnapping one and you were just following them as they were the main character, Dr. Greta Helsing, as she was kidnapped, it just wasn't like as interesting to me. So I'm going to put it there, but I do have the third one to wrap it up, and I will definitely read that. Oh, then we have a Master of Jinn. I also love this for me. I'm going to put it here because I really loved that as well. This is a like steampunk fantasy historical mystery. It's a lot of things packed in one, and I really, really loved it. I think what could have made it a 5-star is if I had read the novellas first, because I really enjoy seeing characters get to know each other, and there's a like romance in here that I would have really loved seeing, like how they first met. So that's why it's going to be here. But I had a really good time with this, and I was looking for another like historical fantasy that I would really enjoy, and I'm so happy I picked this one up. And I really like P. Djeli Clark's writing. I think he does a really interesting way of writing and world building that just I really like. So, and I saved one of the best for last. That is Mexican Gothic. Yep. Yeah. I absolutely loved Mexican Gothic. I think this is definitely a new favorite horror. I just absolutely loved it. Could not put it down. And I think about it all the time. Like, it's one of those horror books that I just go back and think about. Definitely a favorite. I would highly recommend it if you like horror. It's got some like fungus type horror and creepy houses, very gothic, messed up kind of story. I loved it. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be everyone's, especially if you're not into gothic stuff. I don't know if you would like this, but I absolutely loved it. So there you go. That is the tier ranking, a lot faster than my halfway through the year one. But I just wanted to do a little video where you could see all my thoughts. I think, let me look, see if I want to move anything around, but I think we're pretty much going to keep everything where it is. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this. Okay, so there you have it. Those are all the books I read in quarter 3, tier ranked, so you can see my full thoughts on them. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope that this is a nice way to see how I feel about books and get my more full, well-rounded opinion on them. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.